Hi folks, this is the Bookmark Store at thebookmarkstore.com. And this video is going to show you how to make professional laminated bookmarks for any occasion. What you'll need to get started is cardstock at 8.5 by 11, white or color, a cold roll laminator, a rotary trimmer paper cutter, a hole punch, and a corner rounder. And we'll start by showing you how to design your bookmarks in Publisher. First thing you want to do is design your bookmarks. You can use Microsoft Publisher or any other desktop publishing program you're familiar with, as long as you can set a page up for bookmarks, and I'll show you how I do that in Publisher.
So all of the bookmarks are created in Microsoft Publisher. And I'm using Office 2003. I haven't found a need to upgrade, so I haven't. Alright, now, what I do is I create the bookmark in Microsoft Publisher. Sometimes I use Photoshop to get a picture. Maybe I want to put 2 or 3 pictures together, or I want a special look to the font that Publisher won't do. So I'll use Photoshop to accomplish that. But basically they're all done in Publisher. And what I do is, let's say we're going to do a new one. Okay, so let's do File New, and I start out with a blank publication, and I just use a blank one. Okay, so let's bring this down here. I close that, and now we're left with a blank page. To set up the bookmarks, I do a File, Page Setup, and I do Custom. Set it at landscape. My bookmarks are 2 inches wide by 7.5 inches long, and that gives you 4 to a page. Which means whatever design you design on here, just like with the Halloween one, it is going to be 4 to a page. Okay, so here's the Halloween. It's 1. And what I usually do is go beyond the 2 inches. So you will see with this in particular, let me move this over here, you will see I've gone out wider than what it says. And the reason I do that is to give myself enough room for trimming without making the bookmark too narrow. Let's do a print preview. This tells me what it's going to look like. This is actually print previewing in PDF. Okay, so that's how I design the bookmarks.
Next, you want to print your bookmarks. And the best type of a printer is one that has separate ink cartridges, and I'll show you what I mean by that.
Yeah, so the best printer to get is one that has separate cartridges. So for instance, this is an Epson. You have to excuse the angle here because I don't have a proper tripod. I do bookmarks, I don't do video professionally. But this particular one is an Epson Workforce 520. I believe now it's discontinued. But Epson is always coming up with better ones. Or newer models. I don't know if they're any better. I've had this for a couple years and it's been a real workhorse for me. But what you want to look for is 4 separate cartridges. So if I lift this up, right up in here, indicators of what colors go into what. And this is the cartridge holder. I'm not changing cartridges right now, so I'm not going to move this over. But here is an indicator of the black. This particular printer takes 2 black cartridges, and then a magenta, and then a blue, and then a yellow. So instead of having one cartridge be black and then a separate cartridge be all color, or one cartridge only in your printer that's like a tricolor, you want to get the ones that have separate ink cartridges. This way, when you run out of one particular ink, you just change that one cartridge. It's actually very cost effective, and it's the better way to use it. These types of printers also, because the colors are 4 color printing, your bookmarks come out a lot better. You know, they come out with very vibrant color. The colors are really, I mean, they're beautiful the way these come out. And then this video is not going to show it. My husband has a little, he's got a little HP, and it's just, you know, one cartridge has all the colors in it. You know, they mix up for the colors, and it's nice for what he does, but for a continual basis of having to constantly print colors like I do with the bookmarks. There's another one I did. Your 4 color or 4 cartridge inks are better to use for this type of a project.
Step 3, laminate your bookmarks. You want to use a cold roll laminator, not one that uses pouches and heats it up. And I'll show you how this laminator works.
Okay, so after they're printed, and print them out on standard 8.5 by 11 cardstock. Now this one's blank because I've already done this project. But we would slide it into this laminator, and then it comes out the other side. And that's what it looks like. So now it's laminated on all the sides.
Step 5, trim the bookmarks. And the best type of a cutter is, excuse me, a rotary cutter, not an old school guillotine, and I'll show you how a rotary cutter works.
And this is a Smart Cut rotary trimmer. And it's a lot easier to see where you're lining things up at. And then just trim the edges around. And then I take this, and this is I think it's a 1/8 inch diameter. It's not a big standard hole. As you can see, it's very small. And then I punch right through where I've made my little markers. It's easier to punch these holes while you still have 4 attached than do picking up one, punching a hole, picking up one, punching a hole. Then, after I'm done punching the holes, I trim, I separate them into a finished almost finished bookmark.
Step 6 is also optional, and that's where you trim the corners or round the corners if you want rounded corners on your bookmarks. Gives it a completed, finished, and more professional look.
Once they're trimmed and all separated, then I take this little, I think it's a Fiskars. This is a Marvy. If you can see that, Marvy. And this is a corner rounder. And then this rounds the corners. Nice finished piece there.
Step 7 is also optional, and that's adding the tassels.
Okay, our tassels they're real pretty. And what I use, because this hole is small, because it's a very small hole, as you can see, it's not a standard great big hole like you would get in a school hole punch or something like that. I use a crochet hook, very tiny. It's a 2.2 millimeter. This is the perfect size, because all you want to do is pull it in through the back, and then you twirl this around, so you're just going to pull it right in through here. And that's a completed bookmark. Rounded corners, tassel attached, and that's how I do them.
And if you want to have it all done for you, stop by the bookmark store and we'll set you all up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks.